Hello and welcome to episode 45 of The Card Show. I want to thank you all for getting us this far. Make sure you're following on all the usual places you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple, Spotify, now on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, notification bells ticked off, leave reviews. It's always appreciated. So yeah, thanks you two guys for being here. 45 episodes. Let's get into it. Big one this week. We're going to start off with a little itinerary ready for us. Start off with the tops. Let's start with tops. So obviously there's mixed reviews. I'm going to say mixed reviews for Pristine. I say Marmite set. Some people love it, some people hate it. And the reason I say some people hate it and some people love it is because, yes, I've seen a lot of negativity towards it, but I know some people that are going to genuinely like it and like collecting certain players in that set as well. And that's perfectly fine. I think it's okay for everyone to have an opinion. Oh, this set is horrible, it's ripped off, etc. But people will like aspects of it. People will like design of it. It's just the way the world works. Personally, I think it is overpriced for what it is. I think you're gonna get a lot of people, and we have seen a lot of people pump it up and make it out like it's a be all end all. Definitely there's some good autos in there to collect, but again, the set in general isn't my cup of tea, should we say? But nice little set nonetheless. Bit overpriced. Beware, people are going to try and blow smoke at your backside and tell you it's the greatest thing since sliced bread because of the autos in there and this and the other. Don't waste too much of your money on this. Again, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Obviously, there's a mistake in there with the. I think it says Luis Enrique auto, and it's Francisco Navarro Kiko. If I believe that's correct, which is kind of crazy that again, trying to pull wool over our eyes. They don't know what they're trying to do. They're just not paying enough respect to this industry, this hobby, which is very, very poor from Topps and whoever does the sort of QC quality control nonsense there, because obviously that's not very good. And we're seeing the same sort of thing on a Zlatan Ibrahimovic in an Interkit. Obviously auto from Zlatan, and it says AC Milan on the card. So it's a shame to see this sort of thing. I think we're all in this hobby or in this industry, depending on how you negate it, whether it's a collector, investor, etc., and see it sort of disrespected by, I think I said it before, one of the pillars of this community, one of the biggest cogs in this machine. In Topps, and Fanatics, etc., and look how they treat us. I think it's all well and good throwing great parties like Fanatic Fest NYC. Let's get the basics right here. Let's get some cards properly done, better designs, with the right people, right teams, right autos, etc. on them. Not really acceptable in my opinion from Topps. Yes, you can say it's like 2 mistakes in X amount of cards, etc. But they just pumped out a road to Euros with half licenses, half not licenses, and doesn't exactly bode well for people trying to get into the hobby. If you want to look at that card and see, all these England players in blue kits, it's like, is it England or Scotland? What's going on? It's I don't know. It's just not the best. I get it. There's things that need handing over, licenses, etc. You're the titans of industry. You should be doing better, in my opinion. So yeah, kind of a shame that this is happening, especially with the sort of soccer cards and being in the UK and that sort of being our sport. That should be our thing, and sort of it has been a bit of a bad time. Even if you look at like NFL at the moment, we're having Anthony Richardson sort of carrying NFL products because he didn't want to sign in things for Panini. So every product that comes out from Panini, from Prism to Phoenix to National Treasures, he is the chase, and it's a shame for what he does with autos because they're making him sign everything. So the prices are just not where they should be because there's no Bryce Young, there's no CJ Stroud, and it's just not good for the collector. It's not good for the investor. It's putting it in a tough market at the moment. But yeah, on a plus side to Topps, because I will, I'm not here just to bash everything. The plus side is they are releasing the UEFA Club Competition Blasters at game again. They return at $24.99. I believe they're already out of recording this, but double check your local game. It's nice to get things like that. I think every box has a relic in there as well, which is kind of nice. Again, I say a relic in there, which is kind of nice. It's not what it should be. It's not going to be some match worn, player worn. It's going to be, they've gone next door to Sports Direct, chopped up a few shirts, stuck it in a patch, stuck the patch in the card, and that's it. I think there's a few games that are actually inside the Sports Direct, which is quite funny because the shirts are having a full cycle, circle of life, aren't they? From the store to Fanatics, back into the store as a new product in a new store in the same store. Kind of crazy. But yeah, not the best. Again, not getting game worn, player worn. At least. I think that's the one thing I would like to see changed. I mean, I know they're trying to do stuff now with the MLS with this first game patches they're putting on jerseys. I think that's a big part of it. Having sort of more of a connection to what you want. Having we've seen Futura do it quite well, where they tell you the specific game that the shirt was worn, etc. I think that's nice. That's the sort of thing we want. I would love it to be a full trifecta of a picture from that game, the shirt from that game, the information on the back of the card. It tells you, this was in the 2-1 victory against Villa, etc. etc. I don't know why I chose Villa. No disrespect there. I don't think you always get beat 2-1. Doing very well this year, but yeah, just sort of tie the whole story together instead of a picture from the year before of a kit from the year before which he didn't even wear because we've just signed for this club. We saw it with Prism and stuff like that, and Select, was it? Last couple of years with Haaland, and there was patches in there from the kit he didn't even play for City. It's just, we need more respect in the hobby, I think, and more respect as an industry, as a business, to really help it grow. Next, I'll touch on, because I don't know all the details. I did a little bit of reading into the article, but there was a US Border Patrol in Rochester seized a shipment containing thousands of counterfeit stuff from trainers, etc. memorabilia. One of the big ones was the Wembanyama rookies. We know how crazy they've been at the moment. He is the face of the NBA, the future, this, that, the other. So yes, be very careful out there. I'm going to be touching on Wembanyama and his Prism rookies as well in this week's episode of On the Lookout. Something a little bit different. We're going to talk about buying raw, believe it or not. The gem rate and then grading them, etc. So look out for that one. But yeah, very interesting that that this is all coming across now. I believe the shipment was from China. But yeah, counterfeits getting caught up. So you've got to be careful out there, buying this stuff, because we don't know how many have got through prior to this that have been sold on eBay. There could be, hundreds of thousands potentially at PSA, SGC, CGC, not been sent back as sort of unauthorized. So there could be loads in the system just floating around from company, and you'll just see a massive flood on eBay recently, next 2 months or so, of all these cards that are ungraded Wembanyama rookies that people go for, because again they tried it, they bought them unknowingly, sent it over to PSA and it's come back as not authentic, so sent back to them, no charge, and they go, crap, how do I get some money back here? Bump back on eBay, because even the base rookies are going for I think it's $50-$60. The silvers are going for I think the silver raw is outselling the PSA 9 last time I checked. When I was looking into what I was doing for the Thursday show, so which I think was like $600 they were selling for, which is crazy. So just be careful out there. I always say trying to add a value to your cards. So if you're looking to sell them, so one of the easiest ways is obviously buy raw, get it graded, and hope you have money there. There's other options as well, like completing sets, etc. And doing that way, if you get Wembanyama silvers, try and get some number parallels, etc., etc., and bundle them up as well, as always a way to add a value and sell your cards. But again, that's another episode for another time, another day. But yeah, just be very careful out there. It's very difficult. I don't think they're gonna. I'd like to see that these auction houses are gonna start authenticating raw stuff, but I think with this industry being quiet now, and with the link up with PSA or collectors, I'd be very surprised if they start saying, oh yeah, we'll authenticate raw cards to make sure they're authentic as well. But like I said, for $600 on a silver, people could get caught, which is not nice. which is not nice at all. Next one. Bit of news, I don't know if people saw it, the Geoff Wilson interview with I forgot what he was. He was someone of PSA CEO maybe. Not Nat Turner, someone else. Ryan Hodge or something like that. That part's not important, so that's why we got it. But there was some interesting tidbits in there. Obviously, one of the things they talked about was the Kurt's card care scenario. They are looking at new ways and new technologies into detecting, because he talks about, they don't know, and I think I touched on this before. They don't know how this will last. Because obviously they could be on the hook for it. They guarantee this card is it's Gen Mint 10, 5 years time, whatever the wax is in this materials he's putting in his products could start deteriorating the car, and then all of a sudden goes, well, you guys said this was a 10, money. So I think now they want to, obviously they'd love more data over a longer period of time to say actually this good is okay, we can verify it, etc, and it's going to be a 10, always be a 10. It won't have any lasting effects on the card, but because they don't, they're sort of banning it pretty much. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects Kurt's card care. People like Mr. Minty, I believe they've now just gone completely solo on Mr. Minty. They were like working a part-time job, now it's like his side sort of thing, it's his full-time thing. So hopefully it doesn't affect these businesses too much. We need some sort of resolution, because I think again we have sort of restoration and all sorts of stuff in other hobbies, whether it be art, etc. So yeah, very interesting. Obviously in the UK it's kind of becoming like a bigger thing now with Kurt's card care. We see a lot of people going to shows, going to Third Down's table. They've teamed up lately with the grading club, so you go to Third Down, they crack it, they clean it, and we'll give it a little pre-grade, and then say to you, yeah, definitely worth sending off. It's going to be a 9 or 10. You send it off with Aaron at grading club, and a couple months later you get your car back from PSA, and bada bing, bada boom, it's a PSA 9 or PSA 10. So yeah, that's always nice, right? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it affects things over in this country. I don't know how it's going on in the rest of Europe, if people are doing it at other shows, if people are buying Kurt's card care over there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if it starts slowing up, or see if the mentality of the Europeans and the rest of the world changes them products. Again, it's something that's sort of coming over here quite slowly and gradually and starting to build momentum. It'll be interesting to see how it affects it. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the US. I think Kurt's still going to shows and still doing his lives. I don't think it's slowed up his business too much. But again, we'll see what happens if more of these cars start getting sent back as altered. I think they're going to class it as. Which again, it could be a shame, because imagine if, again, similar to the Wembanyamas, if you spent money on a big card that's maybe a PSA 8 or SGC 9 or something, you crack it, you clean it, you're hoping to pump up a grade or two, and it has a massive amount of value, all of a sudden gets sent back as altered. You're thinking, Jesus, look at you probably couldn't go to SGC because of their connection now. They've joined forces, so they're probably going to have the same technologies. Then you're going to think of like CGC, for instance. So you think, well, is the money going to be there? If not, what's it selling for raw? You sell it on raw. Some guy thinks they got a bargain. They unknowingly just go, okay, sweet. Maybe a little microfiber back with fingerprints. Send it to PSA, altered. There's going to be a lot of bag handing, and it's a lot of people left holding the bag, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm hoping there's some sort of protection. I don't know how that would happen. I don't know what it would be. But yeah, maybe you should put it in like a PSA tamper-proof case that says this has been altered with Kurt's card care, and you can't crack it, you have to sell it that way. But yeah, it would never happen. I think I've talked about it in the future, maybe with Fanatics serial number in every card, so then you sort of know, and it'd be on the database. And so if you saw a card on eBay and it was, for instance, it was Ant Edwards, Prism, well, it wasn't Prism, but yeah, Topps Chrome, for instance. And it was Topps Chrome, and it's number 161616. Guy gets it, cleans it with Kurt's card care, gets it off, it comes back altered because they've used a Kurt's on it. He tries selling it, you could check on a database, whether it's PSA or the Fanatics thing. I mean, we know they're sort of in cahoots together now with the Fanatics Live money. I think Fanatics probably will end up buying PSA. Just my opinion. I don't know anything there, but yeah, I think Fanatics will eventually buy PSA from collectors. Or have some sort of dealership there. But yeah, and then you can find out, the card has already been sent off to PSA, it came back as altered, and I know no bid for me, or messages per se, listen, it's come back as altered, would you accept a lower price because it's just in your personal collection sort of thing. So I think that would be one way of helping in the future, but again, it's not going to help right now. Other notes, there was new slabs being announced. They're going to new slabs at PSA, which was interesting. We've seen quite a few varied slabs over the years, especially for stickers and different size cards, and then sometimes you can get an ordinary size card in sort of a slab that's a little bit bigger than the prior one you've had, and it has a bit of mismatchy. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if there's new slabs, and obviously they've got sort of new technologies. We talked about using 3D printed technology for sort of like die cut cards, etc. So not sort of rattling around a little bit or moving or centered in the slab. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of direction you go with that sort of stuff. Again, if you've not checked out his interview on Geoff Wilson, his YouTube, make sure you check that out. I don't know everyone likes Geoff or sports card investor, etc. But when he has people like this on, it's always good to hear what they're going to say. And something else that I found interesting on the interview was adding grading notes. We've sort of wanted this for years, I suppose. We love the Beckett, with the 95, 95, 95. At least you get a little bit of information. Of surface was a 9, but the corners are a 10. You think, okay, cool. Other companies have done it in the past and some have stopped. So to have no notes from the grader to say, I know you guys probably you sent this thinking it's a 10. The reason it's come back an 8 is because if you look at the back, there's a slight line here, or this, and you may have missed it because a lot of people look at the front, especially if it's a prism as well. You're sort of looking in numerous different lights, and you think that looks good. You look at the back briefly because it's not got this sort of indentations the prism might have where it's a parallel, etc. And you may think, hey, this is all right too. Send it and he says, the reason it's been marked down is a bit of whitening at the corners, a bit soft, bit of a line here, etc. I found it interesting. He said that sometimes your card gets seen by 2 graders and sometimes 3. What interested me is he did say, with the human error side of things, it was one person may judge certain defects harsher than other ones. So I get it. You then pass it to a second one. The problem is there's a chain of command. So if you've got a head grader who sees a high-end card and he says, I'm giving this an 8 because I think that's a bit of a big one, and this one here, the next guy along, if they're not a senior guy, is he going to be confident enough to challenge? Say, I don't really think that little hairline is worth knocking down from a 10 to a 9, and then the second one a 9 to an 8. So yeah, I think that part I didn't really like. I think there should be a set guideline of similar to the sort of grading scale, the 9.5s. It should be like, okay, if it's soft one corner, we knock it down 0.25. If it's 2 corners, 0.5, 3 corners, 0.75, 4 corners, as a whole grade gone. You've gone from 10 to 9. If there's hairline sort of indentations, at 0.5, for instance, if there's fingerprints, can they wipe it off with a microfiber and say, okay, now that we've taken away the fingerprint section of it, the card itself, that's okay. There could be someone new into it, just picked up a card, put it in, and not thought about the fingerprint on there, the thumbprint on there. So I'd like to see some sort of help for people in that respect. Again, we want to get more people in. We want to get more people grading these cards, so we don't want to give them a fear of, I don't really know what I'm doing. I sent one off and it came back a 7, and I thought it was going to be a big bunny. I just want to leave the hobby. So yeah, but I'd like to see that sort of thing happen where it's like we can add on again, I've said it before, if you can verify Mr. Minty or Kurt's card care cleaning kit, get some professionals signed up and say, right, for an extra £5 on your submission, you can get your card. No, per card, it gets cleaned, and we can professionally do it, take away any fingerprints, grime, etc., just to make sure that your actual card is in the best position it can be and to get the best grade. So you don't have to worry too much about, I got it from a grader and I didn't want to take out of what they sent it in, and that's it. I took it as is. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I would like to see something there, but hey, we'll wait and see. But I think that was like the main sort of takeaways from that sort of interview. It was more little tidbits in there, more little gems, but they're the ones for me. Next up, I'm going to go to the NFL draft. Let me get up my little tablet here. Here we go. So, for those that watched the draft, interesting. Obviously, we all knew Caleb Williams was going to go in 1. to the Bears. It was interesting, obviously, they already brought Keenan Allen in. They have a decent sort of attack as it is, offense. Bringing in Keenan Allen, someone who's experienced, can help Caleb Williams. What surprised me is that they then had the 9th pick and they went again for another wide receiver. So it gives them a very stacked sort of front end. I just thought maybe a little bit of protection. I think the offensive line is good at Bears. We saw it last year with Fields. He was able to have time. He was able to scramble, etc. He wasn't pressured every time to get rid of the ball in 2 seconds or under. But you've gone big on this guy. You think he's a generational talent. You've already got rid of the guy you drafted 4th a couple of years ago. So yeah, you want to give him the best opportunity. I just think, especially if you look at, so they had the 9th pick. They could have taken just 2 picks after the Jets took Fashanu from Penn State. Potentially could have helped out there. Fuaga went to the Saints at pick 14. So there was a cut. I think there was Mims who went to Bengals at pick 18. It's risky, and again you could be losing a generational talent in Adunze. But yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't like it was his USC receiver either. Like it's like you had with Burrow and Jamar Chase, for instance. It's not like they've come through the system together. So maybe Caleb said, listen, I've played against this guy, I know him or whatever, and he's a baller, I need him on my side. Maybe he has. But yeah, it's just interesting that that's the way they went, giving the option, giving the weapons as opposed to giving the protection. I think we've seen that with the Chiefs, right? They've done it sort of the opposite way around. They realised, especially after that Super Bowl against the Bucks, that we need to protect our main guy, and they went big. Then they went Orlando Brown. They sort of went big last year with Juwan Taylor. Not really worked out that well with him. He's sort of moved now to sort of right tackle instead of left tackle. His blind side, as we say. Obviously, Chiefs have sort of brought in a new left tackle. It looks like in Penei Sewell's cousin. So hopefully he is just as good. So yeah, it's interesting that they've gone that way. What else was interesting? Obviously, we've got to talk about Michael Penix going on number 8 to the Falcons. Obviously, just give Kirk Cousins a big payday. Penix Jr., people talked about him quite a lot. He's talented. I think he's a bit older than the rest of them, at 24, 25. But his idol was Michael Vick. He's going to the Falcons. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. I think maybe they were a bit sceptical on what sort of Kirk Cousins going to get at his age and the injuries coming off. But yeah, interesting. Another interesting one was the Bills allowing the Chiefs to trade up, to get the fastest guy ever to run the 40, in Worthy. Kind of strange. Again, give him Mahomes some weapons. I think they sort of seem happy with the protection he's got, with Tooney and Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. So now obviously I did Hollywood Brown on a 1-year deal. Now I did the Worthy. We don't know what's going on with Rice, but obviously I think they like Nico Romeo, Justin Ross, Travis Kelce. Obviously they did draft a tight end as well. So yeah, interesting that the Bills let them trade up. Especially considering the Bills had pick 28. They've just lost Stephon Diggs. They've lost Gabe Davis. They could have had Worthy. It wasn't like they got anything significant in my opinion, because it was just picks later on in the draft. I think it was 2nd and 6th and stuff like that. So kind of crazy, but hey, who am I to question these GMs? Another crazy one, for me, a bit crazy one was the 49ers. Pick 31, they went for Purcell from Florida, a wide receiver. Having watched 49ers all year, and then obviously in the Super Bowl, I didn't think wide receiver is where they needed to add a first rounder in the depth. When you've got Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, I think, is it John Taylor? Is that his name? John Johnson? The young lad who had a game and a half in the Super Bowl, who threw the touchdown pass to McCaffrey. He could be a potential weapon. So yeah, after having having that and having the Super Bowl end how it ended, you sort of, yes, you can say the freak injury on the defensive end during the Super Bowl could have cost them, but you got to think about the pressures that the Chiefs got on them. With Trent McDuffie coming from out of nowhere with Chris Jones, so I would have thought they would have maybe gone somewhere there to help Brock a few more times, because I think Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback. He seems to process the game very well. So yeah, very interesting one there for me personally. I thought he would have gone for that. Maybe it wasn't anyone they liked so late on in the first round as a offensive tackle side, but I think if you look at what a couple, there wasn't anyone taken really. There was a guy taken up at 12 on the second day. Jackson Powers Johnson. Other than that, there was any offensive tackles taken. Not until the 23rd, which was Dolphins, who took Patrick Paul. So maybe they just didn't like them that much. But yeah, interesting. Blake Fisher, who's took 27th in day 2 by the Texans. But again, I'm not a GM, believe it or not. Next, we'll go to NHL. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's go with Game 4s. Islanders are winning against the Hurricanes. They are losing that playoff series 3-1. Lightning won 6-3 against Panthers. They leading 3-1 in that series. The Maple Leafs and the Bruins. Maple Leafs are sort of the darlings, aren't they, in some respects? Not going well for them. Down 3-1 in that series. We've got the Avalanche and the Jets. Colorado leading that 3-1. Stars, Golden Knights. They're getting beat 2-1 in that series. Canucks, Predators, 3-1 in that series. The Canucks. I'm talking about the Rangers, who I saw obviously beginning of the year. 4-0 against Capitals. Things love to see. Rangers, can I say? I go there and magic happens. Oilers up 3-1 up against Kings. Some more games this as a film is today, tomorrow, etc. So it's the Panthers versus Lightning, Golden Knights versus Stars, Bruins versus Maple Leafs, Hurricanes, Islanders, and Jets versus Avalanche. So interesting, some game 5s coming up and some game 6s. So it's going to be interesting there. I think a lot of teams are playing above what they expected, or what people expected of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think the Canes, the Hurricanes, they've got a team and a half, I tell you that for nothing. They've been peppered a few times, but somehow come up with a victory. The Oilers-Kings series is interesting. But again, the Bruins, Maple Leafs, it's 3-1 at the moment, but yeah, it's not looking great for the Maple Leafs, let's be honest. And then to the NBA, so as I'm recording this list, literally a few hours ago, we had some results in. So Timberwolves swept the Suns. I didn't call that one at all. I think if you go back to last episode, I was way off. I thought Buck, Durant, and Beal would at least pull a game or 2 out of that one. Didn't happen. I would say I'm upset a little bit, but I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. Pacers and the Bucks. The injuries are killing the Bucks at the moment with Lillard and Giannis. Pacers are playing well, 3-1 up. It's probably 95% now that Pacers are going to get through there. Clippers equalising with Mavs. Mavs have, I don't want to say bottled it, but yeah, they've balled out and then just capitulated in the fourth quarter. Clippers have hung in. Again, you've got talent like Harden and Paul George and Kawhi. It's not hard to sort of hang in games, is it? The Knicks, again, who I saw at the beginning of the year, again, sprinkle that magic and look what happens. And now 3-1 up against the 76ers. Philly maybe going home, or chilling in Mexico, as you say. Lakers finally beat the Nuggets. It's been about 13 games, went crazy. So yeah, I'm glad they sort of broke that one. I do think it's going to be a 4-1er, but you never know. I'd love it to be a 3-2, get a bit spicy. But yeah, that is what that is. Celtics are beating the Heat 2-1, and Thunder are winning 3-0 against Pelicans. Other than that, we have the Magic as well, and the Cavs 2-2. So it's getting interesting now. Again, so as of recording this on a Monday, so we have just gone midnight. So tomorrow morning we have the Heat Celtic game 4. We have Pelicans Thunder game 4 at 1:30 a.m. and then at 3 a.m. we have Nuggets Lakers game 5. And then obviously Wednesday games. So yeah, interesting times there with the NBA and NFL, NHL as well. With their playoffs, NFL drafts is obviously just exciting for the new players, and obviously a lot of unsigned sort of draft picks are getting taken by teams as well. I think Frank Gore's son has been picked up by Bills. Who else? Terrell Owens' son been picked up. I think he was a pick though. Yeah, he was picked by someone, I can't remember. That's bad. And Jerry Rice, the legend that is Jerry Rice, his son was picked late in the 3rd round, I think, by the Chargers. So yeah, some legends, kids now in the sport, which is interesting. But yeah, I want to thank you all for sticking this far, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, another episode done, 45. But no, as always, I appreciate it. Again, any feedback is always welcomed, any questions, etc. I try and answer them as swiftly as possible. But make sure you're following on all the platforms available, Apple, Spotify and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, notification bells, leaving reviews, etc, etc. Appreciate you as always. On to the next one. Take care. Peace.